Let's start with a scene you know all too well. It's the courtroom in your skull. An event happens, you make a mistake at work, you have an awkward conversation, you get a vague text message, and instantly, court is in session. Your mind becomes the prosecutor, presenting an endless slideshow of all your past failures. It becomes the obsessive detective, replaying the scene from every angle, looking for clues of your own incompetence. And then it becomes the judge and the jury, delivering a swift and brutal verdict. Guilty. Guilty of being a failure. Guilty of being unlikable. Guilty of not being good enough. This is overthinking. It's the mind turned against itself. It is a superpower, your incredible capacity for analysis and imagination being weaponized and aimed directly at your own peace of mind. It's a runaway train of rumination about the past and catastrophic fantasies about the future. It is the most exhausting, pointless, and painful form of self-imprisonment there is. We live in a culture that glorifies the intellect, but we rarely distinguish between productive thought and destructive overthinking. We think that by worrying more, by analyzing every detail to death, we are somehow gaining control. But the opposite is true. We are simply digging our own prison deeper. So how do we break out? How do we silence the prosecution? The answer comes from a man who had more to overthink than anyone alive. A man who sat at the absolute center of the world, whose every decision affected millions of lives, and who fought his greatest battles not on the frontier of his empire, but on the frontier of his own mind. His name was Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. Now, let's get some context, because it's critical. Marcus Aurelius was, by any measure, the most powerful man on earth. He ruled an empire that stretched from Britain to Syria. He had absolute authority. He was, for all intents and purposes, a god on earth. And yet, if you read his private journal, a book we now call the Meditations, you find something shocking. It is not the diary of a confident, all-powerful ruler. It is the journal of a man struggling, every single day, to master his own thoughts. It is filled with self-criticism, reminders to be a better man, and desperate attempts to calm his own anxious mind. And here's the kicker. He wasn't writing this in a comfortable palace in Rome. He wrote most of the Meditations in a cold, damp tent on the northern frontier of the empire, near the Danube River, while leading a brutal, decade-long military campaign against Germanic tribes. He was dealing with war, plague, the death of loved ones, the betrayal of his generals, and the crushing weight of an entire civilization on his shoulders. This was not a philosophical hobby for him. This was a psychological survival kit. And from the heart of that immense pressure, he distilled the central principle of all practical philosophy into a single, powerful mantra. This is the source code of Stoic strength. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This single sentence is the complete blueprint for dismantling the machinery of overthinking. Let's break it down. Part 1. You have power over your mind. This is the foundation. But what does it actually mean? It doesn't mean you can just stop your thoughts. That's impossible. Trying to not think about something is like trying to not think about a pink elephant. It only makes it worse. The power Marcus is talking about is more subtle and far more profound. It is the power of what modern psychology calls metacognition, or thinking about your thinking. It is the ability to step back and observe your thoughts from a distance, without automatically identifying with them. It is the realization that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. There's a famous Buddhist parable that perfectly illustrates this. It's called the second arrow. The story goes that life will inevitably shoot a first arrow at you. This is a painful event. You get sick, you lose money, someone insults you. This first arrow is the objective external event. It causes pain. But then, we often shoot a second arrow into ourselves. This second arrow is our judgment, our reaction, our overthinking about the first arrow. Why did this happen to me? This is a catastrophe. This always happens to me. My life is ruined. The first arrow is the pain. The second arrow is the suffering. The Stoics, like the Buddhists, teach that the first arrow is often unavoidable. Sickness happens. Betrayal happens. But the second arrow is always self-inflicted. Overthinking is the act of shooting yourself with 1,000 second arrows. Marcus's insight is that you have the power to put down the bow. You have the power to feel the pain of the first arrow without adding the unnecessary, self-inflicted suffering of the second. Part 2. Not outside events. This is the logical consequence, and it is the direct cause of all overthinking. All rumination, all catastrophic worry is a futile attempt to gain control over the uncontrollable. We ruminate about the past. We replay conversations, mistakes, and failures over and over in our heads. Why? We are desperately trying to go back in time and change the unchangeable, to gain control over what is already fixed and gone. It is a complete waste of our mental power. We get anxious about the future. We run endless simulations of what might go wrong. We try to predict every outcome of a job interview, a date, an investment. Why? We are desperately trying to control what is, by its very nature, uncertain and unknown. This is not preparation. This is a form of mental self-harm. The Stoic mind understands this is madness. Consider a modern example, the job search. You spend hours perfecting your resume. You craft a brilliant cover letter. You send it. This is what is in your control. The moment you hit send, the outcome is now an outside event. It is no longer up to you. The overthinking mind refuses to accept this. It goes into a spiral. Did they get it? Did they open it? Are they reading it now? They haven't replied in an hour. They must hate me. Maybe I should have used a different font. This is the mind trying to extend its power into a domain where it has none. It is a recipe for anxiety. The Stoic mind, the mind Marcus was trying to cultivate, exercises its power differently. It says, the action of sending the resume is complete. That was in my power, and I did it to the best of my ability. The outcome is not in my power. Therefore, I will release it. I will now turn my power and my focus to my next controllable action, which is applying for another job. This is the path to strength and tranquility. So how do we actually do this? How do we train ourselves to be the master of our own mind? Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics gave us a toolkit. Tool number 1, the gatekeeper. This is the practice of examining your impressions. When a thought or feeling enters your mind, especially a negative one, you do not just let it in. You stop it at the gate of your mind like a sentry, and you challenge it. You say, as Epictetus taught, you are just an impression, and not at all the thing you claim to represent. The thought appears, I am a failure. The gatekeeper stops it. Hold on. You are just a thought. You are not a fact. Let's examine you. The fact is that my business proposal was rejected. The judgment that I am a failure is a story, an interpretation. It is a second arrow, and I do not give my assent to it. I do not agree to it. By doing this, you create a space between the thought and your belief in the thought. In that space, you find your power. Tool number 2, the pre-mortem. This is premeditatio malorum, which we've discussed. It is the ultimate tool for short-circuiting future, focused overthinking. Instead of vaguely worrying, you calmly and rationally sit down and ask, what is the absolute worst that could happen? And what is my step-by-step plan to deal with it? You do this not to create fear, but to extinguish it. Fear thrives on the unknown. By making a concrete plan, you turn a terrifying monster into a manageable problem. You have preempted the overthinking by doing a controlled, rational version of it in advance. Tool number 3. The view from above. This was Marcus Aurelius's ultimate weapon against overthinking. When he felt his mind getting trapped in the petty dramas of the day, the betrayal of a general, an insult from a senator, he would practice this meditation. He would zoom out. He would picture the entire cosmos, the infinite expanse of stars and galaxies. He would picture the vast sweep of geological and human time. Then, from that cosmic vantage point, he would look back at his own problem. And from that height, it would shrink into its true, insignificant size. The argument you had, the mistake you made, the thing you're worrying about for tomorrow from the perspective of 1,000 years or from the orbit of Jupiter, it is absolutely nothing. It is a speck of dust. This exercise doesn't solve your problem. It dissolves it. It starves your overthinking by showing it how small and ridiculous its subject matter truly is. Overthinking is a misapplication of your mind's incredible power. You are pointing a superpower at yourself. The Stoic path, the path of Marcus Aurelius, is to turn that power around, to point it outward, toward your own virtuous actions in the world, and inward, toward the calm, rational judgment of your own thoughts. But never, ever, at the outside events you cannot control. That is the realization that leads to strength. Your mind can be your prison, or it can be your citadel. The choice is yours to make, every single moment. Start building. Remember the emperor's secret, written not from a throne, but from a war tent on the edge of the world. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Thank you for joining us at the Inner Citadel. If this helped you reclaim your mind, hit the like button and subscribe for more tools to build your inner fortress. We'll see you next time.